Put my group meet up. All right, we are live. Welcome to the Create Your New Life Training, real estate, weekly real estate training. And we are excited to be here another week. So, got some great stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to continue our conversation when it comes to uh, when it comes to when it comes to going to conferences and being effective. So we absolutely want to be effective when we go to conferences. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because we know we have a couple of them. Well, we have one coming up, which is the Texas Real Estate Conference, which I'm going to. And again, we want to be effective. So boom, got my group me up, got my group chat up, and we are ready to rock and roll. So I called it, since you're going to the conference, you might as well meet somebody, because one of the comments that I made last week was the way that you get a return on investment from what you spent at the conference is by the people that you meet, as well as by the information that you get. So that's why we're going to talk about networking today. Networking. So we want to thank those that are joining us that are not Brooks and Davis agents. Remember, anybody that's an agent is able to see the live broadcast every week, and they'll have access to it for 7 days until the next broadcast is cast. And then at that point, you have to be a Brooks and Davis agent, and you'll get access to the recorded videos via the 7 Dot Training folder. So we just again want to thank everybody. Mr. Brooks is always looking for talented individuals to sit down with, talk about how we could develop and increase your bottom line in in this business. Uh, Really show you how to leverage that flexibility that comes with being in real estate, as well as make the money necessary to not just live, but to enjoy life. Again, at any point, stop me. You want dialogue, you want conversation, we can get into that at any moment. So, as we always do, we'll start with our recap of production. So we want to do that first. So let me get my screen up and see how we're looking as far as production. Okay, so this is our pending board. That's stuff under contract, and right now we're sitting at about 3.6 million, which is up from last week. So we're up about 150,000 from last week, which is where at least we're going in the right direction. We have a couple of agents that's added production, so we want to congratulate them. We had Sydney Illy, who added some production last week, and we have Kim Stubblefield that added some production as well. So congratulations, ladies. Your checks are on the way, right? Because once we get there, then it's just a matter of getting through the transaction. So how does that affect our top five? Well, Ricardo is still sitting at the top. And under him, we have Miss Carol Wilson. But now we've had some adjustments. Oh, but we've had some adjustments in the 3 through 5 spot. So Kim's kind of catapulted herself up to the third spot. And then Sydney, with her introduction of production, has now catapulted herself onto the top five. And we're rounding it out with Janique, who was able to get up on the top five from last week's production, to round out the top five. So, it's actually getting pretty competitive. And remember, at any moment, any week, you can go from not being on the list to being, look, number one, number two, number three. So, keep that in mind. I like measuring it this way. It's not based on closed transactions, because that's what's in the past. It's based on what are you doing right now? The top five producing right now agents, and this is the best mechanism that we have in place to measure that. Okay, so let's recap. We had our the Houston Black Real Estate Association mixer last Friday. I'm the membership chair. I'm also a board member, and I talked about how that I'm passionate about that organization. So these are some pictures. Brooks and Davis was definitely in the house. So we have Brina Fairbanks, which is one of our agents, one of our fabulous agents, and we have Serenia, which is a new agent, one of our newest agents. So she was at the event as well. You can see it was, was well attended. That's myself giving a presentation about some of the events that are some of the things that we talked about from the national conference that Brooks and myself had attended a couple of weeks prior. And then we have one of our newest members of the organization getting his pin. So it was our pinning ceremony as well. So we're welcoming him into the organization. You see me giving our newest agent, Serenia, some coaching, on the spot coaching, as far as how to capitalize on different events like this, as well as in her business. So that's something that I really, really am passionate about: development, teaching, coaching. So, a lot of times if you're where I'm at, I may get into coaching mode on you because that's just really what I'm about. Okay, so we have the Texas Association of Realtors conference coming in. Again, it's only $154 for you to attend all of the conference sessions. I'm gonna be there. If you want to ride down there with me, I can fit about 3 people in the car. I think it's gonna be some great time where I can, give you some coaching on the way down there and show you how we can best utilize and maximize your time and energy that you're devoting into attending a conference to where you can, again, truly get that return on investment. If you go down there with me, then we're going to 100% make sure that you get that return on investment that I know is possible. Um, so we have we have our Texans game. So who wants it, right? What's our update? So as of today, we should be at 2,050,500 is where we should be. Where we are is at 1,060,000. So we need to get some production. I know y'all can do it, right? I wanna give the tickets away. I want to give them to somebody. So, let's pick it up. We're about 1 million off of where we need to be. We need about 1 million before Monday to get caught up. I know you all are sitting on production. I know you're sitting on contracts. You just need to tell me where they are. You need to get people to commit, right? Get these agents to stop dragging their feet when they're talking to their clients. Get the sellers to sign off on them, or get the buyers to sign off on them. Get them fully executed. And look, let's add the production to the board. Let's get there. I want to give these Texans tickets away. Help me help you get these Texans tickets. That's all I'm saying. Help me help you. Okay. Realtor recruitment rally. 5% override, right? Again, the easiest way is to invite agents to our weekly training calls. Send them the link to the one for the week. And that's a way to give them exposure to what we're doing. I'm currently working on adding a page to our website, a career page to our website that'll make it a lot easier for you all to put information about the company in front of other agents. So I'm working on that now. I'm looking to be done with that here maybe in the next 7 days. So we're going to have like videos, our monthly video that we put in place of the different events, community service that we're doing as a company. We're going to have that. We're going to have access to what our program. We're going to talk about the recruitment opportunity and the override and things like that. So it'll be a great talking piece for when you're talking to prospective agents. I was actually at my church yesterday, and there's a member that goes to my church, and she's considering, she's a broker. She's considering maybe making a move, and I got right in the recruit mode. I got right in the sales mode, right? So always be selling. Always be recruiting. It doesn't matter where you go, you can always be in a position of where you are prospecting. Like even today when I was getting gas for my wife's car, I was getting gas, I was getting my Monster, and the lady, I have on my realtor badge, and I have on my realtor pin. So if you can see, I got my pin on right here. I got my badge on right here because I got to look nice because I'm going to talk to the students at HCC. And all I'm doing is just a part of everyday life. Having to put gas in the car for my wife so she can be happy with me, and getting me a Monster so I can be ready for you guys at 11:30. And the cashier just sparks the conversation. You know, the magic question. Oh, you're a real estate broker? Boom. That's yes. What do you need? What do you need, right? And we ended up talking about, you know, how she doesn't need a house, but she knows somebody that's like in the midst of buying a house. And you know, my question, hey, give me your contact information. You know, I like to control the follow up, but she didn't have it, so I gave her my card, and let's see if it materializes. So that was, you know, I'm recruiting agents yesterday at my church. I'm talking to people at the gas station that are looking to buy houses. There's opportunity everywhere if you're positioned right, right? And that's these are the things that we talk about, the things that you should be doing on a daily basis. You want to stabilize your income, then you have to stabilize the types of activities that you're doing to put you in the best place to be successful. All right, so that's my little soapbox around that. Let me get back on track. You know, I get off track sometimes. All right, okay, and then I sent out in the group me where we talked about HCC. Let me tell you a little bit about that program. So every year, man, I love doing it because I like mentoring, I like teaching. So, you know, twice a year, so it's every semester, I participate as one of the mentors for the HCC co-op class that they have. Professor Juan Crawford is over that department over there, and it's always been a great opportunity, and not for, you know, not only for me to give back when it comes to training and coaching, but it's always been a great opportunity for us to pick up recruits. We picked up a number of agents through that HCC partnership that Brooks and Davis has. So today we're doing Meet the Mentors, and then you know, I should be able to get a list of agents that want me to mentor them based on location and things like that. And one of the things that I always offer to the class is that if Mr. Crawford gives me all of their email addresses, then I'll invite them to the Create Your New Life real estate training every week. So that's another way to help me grow a database. So what I sent in the group me was that if you come, like, I'll do the selling, I just need support, right? So if any agent that comes and meets me at HCC, it's the one on the West Loop here by Boudreaux's, close to the office. If you meet me there today at 6:30 and I'm going to do my spiel, then, you know, when it's time for the students, or because some of the students that are in HCC's class, they're actually already licensed. A lot of times they're just taking that class because they want to get their associate's degree in real estate. But a lot of times they're already licensed, or they may have already taken whatever classes that they need, and they just need to take the test. So we see a lot of that as well. But if you just come, you just show up, and once I do my spiel, you work the room, you move around the room, and then you encourage some people to sign up for Brooks and Davis and things like that, you know, as a mentee. And then if that person or if that agent decides to come over to our company, or if that's a student, they take their test, they pass, they sign up with our company, then that's your 5% override. So I'm putting you in a position where you can be successful, but I can't give you the effort. So I can't make you get in your car. I can't make you drive over there. I can't make you put your clothes on. And I can't make you show up. All you got to do is show up to the field and let me be the franchise player, and I'm going to do what I do, and then there's an opportunity for you. So I laid that out there for you as we continue to talk about the recruitment rally. All right, so, you know, I wanted to spend a little time during our session when it comes to, you know, what's happening. So I want to talk a little bit about social media. I put on here Social Media 101, talk about, you know, smart social media, right? So social media is an awesome platform. Trust me, it's an awesome platform. It's an awesome lead generating source. Now, depending on who you talk to, there are plenty people in the industry that'll tell you that social media is a waste of time. That the people that are on social media that is not a good place to go when farming for leads, right? And I am in total disagreement with that stance. Social media is a great platform. Now, I'm not taking away from any of the tried and true uh, uh, methods, right? I'm not taking away from calling for sale by owners. I still believe in that. I'm not taking away from door knocking, from farming, from any of the other methods that are still in place. But social media is a solid farm to mine if you're doing it the proper way. So every now and again, I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about some of the things that I personally do. Every day, I've set aside time in my schedule. Now it's between 5 and 6. It's real early. You know, you got to get up. Early bird catches the worm. It's between 5 and 6, but I've set aside time every day to do social media sharing, because what it is about social media is about content. See, you got to present the right content, and then that's how you get people to pay attention. And as long as you got people paying attention to you on social media, when that real estate need presents itself, or that referral presents itself in that person's eyes, then because you stay relevant in their mind, then that's when you'll get the lead. That's when you'll get the inbox. That's when you'll get the comment. That's when you'll get the tag, where somebody's tagging you because they've referred you to somebody else who requested something when it comes to real estate. That's when you'll get all of that, because of the content that you posted on a consistent basis. It kept you relevant in their mind, and they're continuing to pay attention to you. All right, so here's an example of one that I actually posted today. This morning, 5 o'clock, fresh off the presses, I posted this one. Okay, so now this is on LinkedIn, right? And the premise around this post has to do with, and I don't know if you all follow me on social media. If you don't follow me on social media, then I follow me. Like, I have all my handles on my signature line. So whenever I send out an email to everybody, if you've ever gotten an email from me, then just pull it up, look at my signature line, and then those are all my social media handles. So the reason so this premise right here goes off of, and like I said, if you are following me, then you've seen that I've been doing these, if I were your realtor, or if I was this person's realtor, or if we were this person's real estate company, this is what we do. This is what we would do. Like, I did that for the new HISD superintendent relocating. I did that for Simone Biles. I did that for Simone Manuel. So I sent those posts out there of, if we were their real estate company, this is what we would do for them. All right, well, here's one for our client. So this is an article that I saw in the Chronicle. And the article was about, here, let me pull the article up. So this is the article. And it was about the Houston Museum of African American Culture hiring a new CEO. So that's a picture of the building, and then this is the article. So the article is about a young lady named Kelly. Where are we? Yeah, Kelly Willett. That's who the article's about. Well, I was actually sitting in my office when this came across my desk, because I get the little news flashes on my email, and it prompted me, because I remember that we were helping somebody. I thought it was the new curator for that museum. So I looked and I was like, yeah, look at that. Oh, they're hiring a new CEO. That's great. So then I just decided to look up at my pending board when I saw the name, and I realized that that's actually our client, that Kelly R. Willett, who's the new CEO of the Houston Museum of African American Culture, is an actual current Brooks & Davis client. She's getting a brand new house built, and we assisted with her relocation from start to finish. So actually, Kara Wilson is working with her. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh man, look at that. So I immediately started posting that. Now look, here's the LinkedIn post. Now, I started it off the way that I started the other ones. Hey, HMAC is getting a new CEO, and if we were her real estate company, because I have been posting those, I've been posting them already like that. But then you see what I did? Wait, we are. So boom, I had been posting the fact of all these other people relocating. If we were their company, we would do this for them. And now I actually got somebody relocating that's in a high profile position, that has an article being written about them in the Houston Chronicle, and I'm able to follow up and say, hey, look, we are her real estate company, and was able to give her a shout out. So to complete the post, it was, our fabulous realtor, Kara Wilson. Now, let me say this. you need to get on social media so I can tag you and stuff like this. Because even when I did the post about Simone Biles, who's in a gym, and she's a gymnast, well, y'all know who Simone Biles is. Well, we have an agent, Jennifer Jarrett, who owns she works with Little Gym, and I think she has a background in gymnastics as well. So when I put the post out there and I tagged Simone Biles, I tagged the gym that they have, right? And I put their handle so to where it would notify them that I'm actually writing a post about them. I also tagged Jennifer, who's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. So I was able to tag her in my post so she could see it too. Here with Carol, I wanted to do that for Carol, but I couldn't find her on social media. I couldn't tag her. So I want you all to send me your handles too. So if I'm able to throw you into one of my posts, one of these high profile posts, I want to be able to connect you and tag you so you can see it, and because it's being introduced to this large audience. So then I just said, Carol Wilson, we want to congratulate Ms. Willis on her new role with the museum. It's been an honor assisting you and your family as you relocate to our great city, and we know you'll do great things for the Houston Museum of African American Culture. And then I put the article that was written about her, and then I put my hashtags on there. So, a real simple post, but I've already gotten 2 likes. People are engaging it, people are seeing it, and here's one that I did about the mayor with, that's the kind of posts that you need to be sending. Not, and look, I'm not saying if you want to on Instagram, you want to take a picture of your food and send out to people what you eating. I mean, I don't know if that's gonna really have any lasting power as far as people paying attention to you. Like, if you wanna, on Facebook, and you wanna do a dissertation about how a song made you feel when you listened to it and it gave you an emotional, alright, then that's just kind of what you want to do. I don't know how much staying power that's gonna give as far as people paying attention. But this kind of stuff, it gives people seeing you in a light of an expert, somebody that I want to do business with, somebody that I want to help guide me through a process, a real estate process, a real estate need. It presents you in a different light when you're posting these kind of posts. It's like it solidifies you. It solidifies your cred, your street cred, your rep. So that stuff is important. The kind of rep that you put in place and how you look, right? If you've noticed, whenever I'm doing these videos, the training, I wear even if it's not a shirt and tie, but I'm at least gonna wear a button-down collar shirt, right? Because if you go back and look at all the videos, I always have that on. I'm intentional about that. I'm not gonna have on a t-shirt. I'm not gonna have on a polo. I'm gonna have on a dress shirt, because I want to show when I got this logo behind me in every single video, and I want to connect this logo with the professionalism that comes from being associated with this company. And if you look across my internet, especially my internet profile, you'll see that level of professionalism. Now, I lighten it up on Facebook, right? I do lighten it up on Facebook, my personal page. But when it comes to the Brooks and Davis business page, when it comes to my personal LinkedIn page, then I keep it professional. And I advise you to do the same. So that's my social media 101. I want to talk about that a little bit for you guys. And I'm gonna be doing that. Like, when I'm doing stuff, I'm gonna show you guys what I'm doing, right? And to where you can stir up creative ideas in your mind, or even just duplicate exactly what I'm doing just on your personal audience, on your personal social media places. Okay, so before we go into the conference information, I want to quickly revisit again something that's near and dear. It speaks to our culture. It speaks to our core ideology. I always want to talk about our core ideology because it's the makeup, it's the fabric of who we are at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. So, of our core ideology, we have our big, hairy, audacious goal, we have our core purpose, and we have our core values. So here is our core purpose. We want to create a greater experience for every stakeholder of the real estate community, or in the real estate community, actually. So what does that mean? What that means is that whoever's associated with us, whether that's a customer or a consumer, whether that's another realtor or another loan officer or a title company or an inspector or home warranty person, anybody that's associated or engaging with us as a professional, our purpose is to make their experience greater. Now, you got to be a special kind of person to be able to lead from that standpoint. Notice how I said the word lead, because that's what leaders do. See, an analogy that I always refer to in many instances is the difference between an egg, and we'll use a tea bag because that's what I drink every morning. I drink some tea, get me going. So, what's the difference between an egg and a tea bag? Well, the difference is that when you add hot water, which can be an example of environment, circumstances, what's happening around them, right? When you place those two things in an adverse situation, an adverse environment, how does it affect those items? Well, you take an egg and you place it in hot water. What does it do? The hot water changes the matter of the egg. It turns into a hard-boiled egg, and the composition of the egg changes. If you take that tea bag and you drop it in that same vat of boiling hot water, you take it and you drop it in those same circumstances, then what happens? Well, the tea bag is not impacted. The tea bag impacts the water. So now the hot water turns into tea, right? So when we're talking about creating a greater experience for every stakeholder in the real estate community, what we're talking about is being the tea bag. We're talking about being the difference, being the change in the environment that we're impacting. That's why I said lead, because that's what leaders do. They influence. They influence the communities that they are a part of, right? So that's who we are at Brooks and Davis. We're a group. We're a community and an organization of leaders. So we cause impact, right? Even we talked about those non-evil bosses, right? We impact the people that are associated with us, and we make the change. So we don't let the circumstances change us. So we don't complain. That's why another one of our core values is constant positive attitude, because our attitude is not going to be dictated on the circumstances and the environment. We're going to allow our attitude to change who's around us. So if you stay around us long enough, you're going to be the one to change. So you better watch out. That's what our core purpose is all about when we talk about creating a greater experience for every stakeholder in the community. So it's something that I want you all to embrace, because it's key when it comes to our ideology. It's extremely key. Okay. All right. So now I want to go into what we talked about last week. So what we talked about last week, we're going to get into our conversation, and for the next 30 minutes, this is what I'm going to be speaking to. So last week we talked about the taking notes side of things. So we talked about when you go to a conference, how to get maximum return on investment. You're going to hear a lot of people, realtors, encouraging you to go to conferences. Now, I didn't see the benefit. I just recently saw the benefit, and I get it. Like I've connected the dots of why you should attend the conferences. You should go to them, right? Now, clearly I'm speaking to Brooks and Davis agents, but there may be agents on here that are with Keller Williams, with Remax, with Century 21, with One Realty, and all of those organizations have conferences. Like I've even been to the Keller Williams conference, and I got a lot out of it. Well, they have conferences, and they encourage their agents to go to those conferences. And if you're one of those agents, you're listening to me, you should go to that conference, because there's so many things when it comes from information as well as when it comes from people that can position you to get a return on your investment by attending those conferences. So last week we talked about taking notes, which is the first part of it. You gaining information that can impact you, gaining information that can impact you, that you can use to ultimately increase your bottom line and make more money. So what are some of the, the things that we talked about last week? So, we talked about taking the notes digitally because it allows you to move through things more efficient, right? Talked about, don't use paper and pen because you want to be able to easily and quickly manipulate the notes that you got so you can quickly get to uh, actually taking action on the information that you receive. See, that's typically where the disconnect is. A person can go down to one of those conferences and they can take a boatload of notes, but if they never get to the point to where they're taking action on what those notes that they received say, then again, you've wasted your money because you have to materialize the information into actions that you can take that can impact your business. So how do you quickly be able to go from the note to what the action is behind the note? So that's why I push you need to take them digitally. So you need to use a smartphone, tablet, Google Docs, Evernote, like you have access, and all that stuff's free. So you have access to the resources you need to be able to do it. Talked about not writing everything. You just need to write the ideas or the questions or the actions that come to mind when you're listening to the speaker. Don't get there and try to write down their whole speech, because what you're going to do is you're going to miss out on the key things. Just listen for an idea, listen for a question, listen for an action, and then you write that down. Take pictures of the slides. So you got your phone camera, boom. Don't try to write on what the slide says. Take a picture of it. You feel like it's a relevant slide to you, you take a picture of it. Google items real time. If somebody mentions something you don't know what it is, or they say, hey, look into it, pull your smartphone out and Google it. Right? If you got a hotspot on your phone, or if you got access to the hotspot in the conference center, get online, look it up. And then we talked about when going through your notes, like how should you do it? Do it within 24 hours. You want to catch it while it's fresh because you're not going to be able to write everything that comes to mind. So, either when you go back to your room that night, you can do it then, or as soon as you get back home, whether that's Houston or wherever you're looking at these videos from. Do it within 24 hours while it's fresh, right? You want to research your websites and documents, and you want to add the hyperlinks to the notes. You want to identify and prioritize your action items, and then you want to immediately begin working on your action items. Because see here, if you never get here, if you go to the conference and you take notes and you never get to 5C, then you've wasted your money and you're not doing it the right way. You're not going to get a return on investment. We talked about the Texas Association of Realtors Conference. Registration is $154. If I was staying in Galveston, I would have to pay hotel. If I had to fly into Galveston, I would have had to pay for travel. I'm driving, so I got to pay for gas. I'm going to eat, so I got to pay for food, right? So there's these expenses that's associated with attending these conferences, but if you're never able to get to 5C, where you're working on an action item or action items, then that's where the disconnect is and why you're not making a return on investment and why people don't see the relevance in attending conferences, and they're missing out. And they're missing out greatly, right? So that's what we talked about last week. If you didn't see last week, you have access to it in your 7-Dot training folder. And I went through actually an example of the notes that I took at the National Association of Real Estate Brokers Conference. So I took you're able to see an example of the specific things that I'm talking about when it came to this slide. All right, so now let me go into the networking aspect of things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is we're going to talk about, we talked about last week that, how to quickly get to the action items or the information that's going to help me get a return on investment. Now we're going to talk about how do I get the type of relationships or meet the type of people that can also offer me a return on investment and impact my bottom line. That's what we're going to talk about today. So we're talking about networking. All right, so I have another slide that we're going to speak from when we talk about that. All right. So the very first thing you need to understand is that when it comes to networking and you're going to the conferences, you need to have in your mind that you want to build database. You're going there to get people's contact information, because even if it's a real estate conference, again, I'll use the Texas Association of Realtors as an example. if you have things or you have need for people who are not in your marketplace. And the reason that you have need for people that are not in your marketplace, and again, I'm speaking specifically to going to a realtor conference, is because it instantly increases your value proposition to your clients. So now, if you have a client that has a property for sale, well, they're moving somewhere. They're going to a different city or a state or, somewhere that's outside of where you're licensed. Well, if you've made a connection with somebody in that area of town, then now there's an additional source of income that you can receive through referral fees, right? And we're going to talk about that here when we get to engage. But you first need to understand that you want to go there with some type of goal for you to build or increase on your database. Again, database, and we talked a lot about that when it comes to getting organized and your CRM. Like, you want to have that mechanism in place, and this is another reason why it's imperative that you get organized and you get a CRM in place, because it affords you the ability and the opportunity to do the things that I'm speaking to you about today. And if you have not gotten your CRM organized, then you can't do this and be effective in doing it. So you gotta get that, man. That's like the number one. That's the number one thing: organizing your calendar and organizing your CRM. All right. So now, typically at these conferences, they have events. Like, they have their classes, but a lot of times they have evening events, and you want to attend those events, especially the free ones. You definitely want to go to all the free events that they offer. Now, they have paid events. I'm not saying you have to go to the paid events. You ask yourself and you say, hey, can I find value in that event? But always remember, you want return on investment. You want return on investment when you're spending any money. So you ask yourself that. But a lot of them, they have activities and networking events and happy hours and things like that are put on that are free, that you don't have to pay for. And matter of fact, that's another reason why you need to network, because a lot of times there are events that are going on that are not on the calendar or the schedule of events for the conference, and are not being exposed to the masses of everybody attending, but only a select small few may know about. And if you meet or you network with the right person, then you can get an invitation to that event as well, that other people are not privy to. So it's important that when the opportunities present themselves, that you attend. And it's also important for the classes that you attend. Don't use it as an opportunity for vacationing, right? Don't go down to Long Beach or Florida or Galveston and you just use this as an opportunity to do sightseeing, to go visit the city. Like, that's not what you're there to do. You're there to do business, because you paid. Let your business time be for business, and let your vacation time be for vacation. Don't split them. As professionals, we're so used to just lumping it all together, right? So when it's time for business, we're doing other stuff. We're running errands. We're doing vacation. We're chilling. We're watching TV. When it's time for business, we're doing that. And because of that, when it's time for vacation, we're forced to do business, right? You need to keep them separate. When it's business, focus, have clarity in what you're looking to accomplish, and you do it. When it's time for pleasure or vacation, enjoy it. Turn the phone off, disconnect, pour into your family, pour into your loved ones. Because at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, listen, when you're on your deathbed, it's not going to matter to you how much money you made. It's not going to matter to you, what kind of cars you had, what kind of clothes you wore, what kind of house you lived in. None of that material stuff is going to matter when you're on your deathbed. What's going to matter to you is who are the people, how many people are around that bed and that are with you as they're ushering you into the next path. And the only way that you get a plethora or an abundance of people is about who you poured into when you was on this earth. right? Who are the people that you impacted, right? It takes us back to our purpose that we talked about earlier. When you're creating a greater experience for the stakeholders, we're talking about you touching lives, impacting people, right? So the only thing that lasts, the way that you leave legacy, is not through material goods, it's through the non-tangible that you invest in people. People is how you leave legacy, how you leave name, the people that you've touched. So when it's time for vacation, you spend time with your family. Like when it's after 5, 6. That's why it's so important that you get working hours, because you need to have balanced time where you're pouring into your kids, into, if you're married, your husband or your wife, your spouse, your friends. You need to pour into those people, because those people matter, and you don't want to sacrifice that for money to chase a dollar. Money's just a resource, and money's not gonna love you back. And the things that money buys is not gonna love you back. But the memories and the experiences that money can create with the people that you can bring, now that is where you're making a difference. So that should be important to you, and you should fashion your business around the fact that you're not sacrificing your people, friends, family, kids for that. And while I'm here, I did it for my other babies. I need to give a shout out, right, to my number one 4-year-old, Miss Morgan Elise Davis, because today is her birthday, right? I actually posted this earlier on Facebook. The first time I've ever heard anybody answer the question in the happy birthday song, right? You know, how old are you? 4. 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 Like, she answered the question every time it came up in the song. I thought that was hilarious. And then we did this Nick Jr. call with Shimmer and Shine. And I don't know. If you follow me, you'll see the post. I posted a video of it. I thought it was just too cute. But look, got to give a shout out to my number one 4-year-old, my 100, daddy sweetheart, Morgan Elise Davis. Got to give her that shout out. September 1st was the day that she was born. So daddy loves you. Anyway, back on track. So that's what's important. So when you're going to these conferences, you're there for business, keep it business. All right. Engage. Now this is the most important. 3 and 4 are the most important steps. Now you can set your goal, you can attend the events and the classes, but if you don't do number 3, then out of there. So that's where you're gonna get that little voice on your shoulder that's gonna tell you, no, don't go talk to that person, they might not like you. No, don't go talk to that person. I mean, what if they ignore you? Or what if they, don't want to be bothered? Or what if they, like, you're going to hear all that rejection talk when you get to number 3. And man, that's when you gotta, whatever that little voice that's on your shoulder, it kind of reminds me of those cartoons where you had the devil on one shoulder and you had the angel on the other shoulder. And you better pull out your baseball bat like Derek Jeter, man. You better knock it over the fence. Don't listen to that voice, because that voice is going to prevent you from creating the life or creating the new life that you want to create. So don't listen to that voice, because you have got to walk over there and you have got to engage. Whether that's in the classes, and it's something as simple as, don't go look for the seat that's way in the corner or in the back, and because you don't want nobody around you. You need to go get right in the middle of the mix. If there's a row that's full and there's one seat on that row in the middle with 2 people on the side, you need to go get in that seat, because you need to present the opportunity to where when you sit down, you introduce yourself, right? I mean, it's real simple. You go find a spot where people are around you, and then you go sit down. Hi, Michael G. Davis, I'm from Houston. Michael G. Davis, I'm from Houston. And then you sit down, introduce yourself, and trust me, while you're sitting there, whether in that class, an opportunity is going to present itself to where you have a conversation with those 2 people sitting on the side of you, and it's going to give you an opportunity to see if A, B, or C is relevant in that conversation. Is this a person that could be a strong relationship for my business? Is this a person where there's some referral or relocation opportunities? Is this a person that I can get some ideas that are working in their market that I can use in my market? Because see, they're gonna give you the game because you're not in a competition if y'all are in two different markets. So they're gonna give you the game on what's working in their market, to where you can take that idea and you can apply it in your market. That's enough. That's why conferences are so powerful. They're so powerful if you work them the right way, right? But you have to engage, right? So it's the same thing when you're going to the events. That's why I tell you to go to the events and the classes and you engage. You don't walk into the networking or the happy hour or the conference, breakfast, or whatever event that you're at. You don't walk in there and go stand in the corner, right? Remember we had the video that talked about networking is a noun? You have to participate in the networking, right? It's going to happen regardless. There's going to be some networking that takes place. The question is, are you participating in it or are you not participating in it? So you got to go engage, right? So you don't go look for the corner. You don't go stand on the wall. You go walk up to people and you go introduce yourself and you start the conversation. Hey, where are you from? Right? One of the greatest things the greatest ideas that I got, and I got it from a conference, was that you need to get your 2 badges. So I have my Brooks and Davis badge that says that I'm a real estate professional, right? I got that badge. But then I also have a badge that says Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, and then it says Houston, Texas, under the badge. So now, whenever I go to a conference, I'm wearing my Houston, Texas badge, right? Because, and funny thing, when we went to the National Association of Realtors conference in New Orleans, the last day of the conference, just kind of checking it out before we get on the road, and guess what? One of the vendors saw my, oh, you're from Houston. Now, mind you, this is a conference. There were 50,000 plus realtors at this conference. This is the National Association of Realtors National Conference. Realtors from all over the world, because you know NAR has 91 international chapters. So not just realtors over the United States, realtors all over the world have converged on this conference. And because I had a badge that said, oh, you're from Houston, Texas, one of the vendors, and he was selling scarves, called him the Scarf King, gave me his information and said, you know what, we're looking to buy a house in Houston. We're looking to buy a house in Houston or in Texas. It was either Houston or Texas. But can you just imagine? Can you just imagine how effective something as simple as a badge with a city and a state, how effective that can be in a situation like that? And again, the difference isn't that I'm a better agent than anybody else. The difference is not that that I look better than anybody else, that I had more knowledge about markets and any of that stuff. It wasn't any of that. It was just that I was able to take some information that I got at the conference, and then I turned it into an actionable item, literally went and got the badge, and now look how it turned over for me later on, put me above 50,000 other realtors at the same place. So the stuff that I'm telling you is not things that I'm guessing or that I pulled up on Google or that I read about. I'm really throwing a lot of my experiential knowledge here in these talks because there's a lot of power in experiential knowledge. Matter of fact, I've read that experiential knowledge is the best knowledge. The disconnect is that a lot of us feel like we have to experience it to get the knowledge, and you don't. You can live off of somebody else's experiences. And this is what I'm offering to you guys every week, being associated with Brooks and Davis. You have access to tap into the experiential knowledge of not only myself, but Mr. Brooks. That's 25 plus years of experience in this business, full-time real estate, that you all have access to any given moment through a phone call, right? There's power in that. So you got to engage. That's number 4. All right, so number 3. So number 4 is so now once you engage, you have to start with offering them something for you to get the best response. I put get a better response, but really for you to get the best response, you have to lead from a place of value of serving. You have to lead from a place of value /service. So before you go to somebody and say, hey, if you ever have any referrals coming to Houston, send them my way and I'll pay you a referral fee. Like before you go into that, because see, you're going into what's in it for me, do something for me. Before you do that, talk about, hey, like, how's your business? What are some of the challenges that you're facing? Try to find an opportunity to where maybe you can pour into them and offer them something, right? Maybe it's something that's working in your market. Give them something that you're doing in your business, or give them something that I told you. Give them information, because see, I found out that that's the best lead way in building or fostering a relationship is when you're able to identify a need in the person that you're talking to and offer some level of advice or an idea, or have you considered looking at it this way? Something like that. I mean, even to you could do something as simple as this. If you guys are at lunch, say it's a luncheon, right? And you know, at some of the luncheons, you have to go off to maybe get you some water or get silverware. They have it, you know, somewhere else. If you're going to get you some silverware, you're going to get you some water, ask the people that's sitting at your table, hey, you guys need me to get you anything? Right? That's simple. That doesn't take any, all it takes is consideration, being considerate of those that are around you. And that means a lot, because I'm a strong believer of the law of reciprocity. When people feel like you've done something for them, subconsciously, I think it's a part of human nature, subconsciously, they're going to look for ways to pay you back. People just don't like to be in debt. So they're going to look for ways to pay you back. And that's how you do it. I mean, things that are just that simple. So start off with something offering how that you can add value to them through, you know, and again, there are plenty of ways that you can do that. Like I said, anything. I know there are going to be plenty of opportunities that are going to present themselves after you engage for you to offer value, help, advice, anything. Bringing them a cup of water, pulling a chair out for a lady who comes to sit down, offering a seat. You know, I mean, it's just going to be so many opportunities for you to give and serve. And that's positioning you to be in the right spot for that thing to turn back around and for you to get those relationships, those referral relocation opportunities, those ideas to operate in your market. That's where the value comes from in the networking opportunity, right? So now, when you get to step 5, you're going to get business cards, right? If you do the first 4 steps properly, you're going to build you're going to get your goal when it comes to building database, right? So that means you're going to end up with a stack of business cards. So here, check this out. And when I say a stack of business cards, I literally mean a stack of business cards. So these are business cards. Oh, look at that. It just kind of hopped out. So look at all, these are business cards that I've received from meeting and networking that have just been sitting on my desk because I haven't found time to put them where they need to go, right? Because you guys keep me so busy. I have questions about your events, or your transactions and your clients, and I got to do the trainings for you and motivate you, laugh with you, cry with you. So I can't put my business cards where they need to go when I'm out there networking and doing the stuff I'm telling you to do. But I love doing it for you guys, so it's all good. But when you do those first 4 things effectively, you're going to end up with this. So you have to get in there and quickly get to that point, because fortune is in the follow-up. We talk about really building the relationships and building database. Well, there's actions that have to take place after you come back, because these business cards sitting on my desk aren't doing me any good because they're not anywhere. This stuff just sitting on my desk is just taking up space is what it's doing. It's actually in the way. So you got to get it. You got to get the information into the database. You have to send your follow-up to the people to touch them and leave more of a lasting impression on the people that you've met. And you got to do it quickly, because you don't make your money in follow-up. It's an important part of it. But what do you make your money in? Selling. You gotta be selling. You need to spend most of your time selling, whether over the phone, email, face-to-face. That's where you get your money, right? But this stuff is important. It's imperative. Again, I use my fishing analogy. We make your money. You make your money fishing, right? If you have a fishing business, well, you make your money having your boat in the water with your nets out, with your fishing lines out. That's where you make your money, catching the fish. The only problem is that if all you do is spend your time fishing, you'll never get to eat any of it because you haven't cleaned the fish, you haven't washed it off, or cleaned it, you haven't cut it, you haven't cooked it, sectioned it, taken the bones out, filleted it. You ain't did none of that stuff because you're always out there fishing, right? But the fishing is the most important part. Yet the other stuff is necessary if you're going to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So this is what this is. Selling is what you got to be doing, right? That's the most important part. That's the fishing. But you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor if this other stuff isn't done. So the database building, the transactional management piece of things, the administration work, that stuff has to get done for you to enjoy the fruit of your labor. So what does that look like? So the thing about it is that since the fishing is the most important piece, you got to have systems. You got to have systems first, and then you hire people to work your systems because it's about speed when it comes to doing anything other than selling. It's about doing it quickly so that it doesn't take a lot of your time. So if fishing is what makes you money, you got to have systems and you got to have people in place to clean the fish, cook the fish, get the fish ready so you can eat the fish, but you need to be out there spending your time selling. It's the same thing here. So we're going to talk a little bit about, well, how do you do that? But the first thing is that so you don't end up like me, go ahead and get it out the way. Eat that frog, right? Tony Robbins, no, was it Tony Robbins? Yeah, Tony Robbins wrote a book called Eat That Frog, right? And the point of it was that Mark Twain, he's an author, and he made a quote, he wrote Huckleberry Finn. He wrote that book, so we probably know that book. He said, first thing of your day he said, if everybody started their day off eating a big old toad, then everything else that they did that day would be easy. If everybody started their day off eating a frog, then everything else that day will be easy. So everybody should start their day off eating a frog. All right. Now the point is that if you start your day off doing the worst thing first, then everything else is gonna be easy. So in the book, he references eating the frog as do the thing that you don't want to do first thing, get it out of the way, and it'll make the day go a lot smoother and easier and better. So do it within 24 hours, get it done. All right. Now, Evernote software. Let's talk about everything that I'm talking about when it comes to getting return on investment from going to these conferences. Now, this idea that I got from this national conference of real estate brokers in Long Beach, I've gotten, if I don't get another thing, or if any of these other action items that I done put in place, if I don't get not another thing from any of that stuff, I got my money and more through what I learned on how I could use Evernote. All right, so let me explain it to you. Matter of fact, I got to show you. This is good. This is good. All right. So I went to the social media marketing class. It wasn't even supposed to be an Evernote class, but it came out in the Evernote. So let me get a good one. All right, boom. So this is a business card, Brian Clark. Now, what I learned in that class was, and through Evernote, you get Evernote on your phone, on your smartphone. All right. And what I said was, or what I heard was that by using Evernote, I could take a picture of this man's card, right? And when I take a picture of this man's card in my Evernote, what's going to happen is that it's going to save a picture of the card in Evernote. It's going to capture all of the contact information from the card and save it as a contact in Evernote. All right, now, just like Mr. Clark has his email address on this card, if this email address is the same email address that's associated with his LinkedIn account, it's going to send Mr. Clark an invitation to LinkedIn automatically. Okay, all for me taking a picture of it. So now I got a picture card in my Evernote along with it's been pulled all the contact information off the card. It's been sent my man a LinkedIn request, and it's going to email him my contact information. All for me taking a picture of the card. Now, if I'm able to do that, I won't end up with stacks of business cards because now I've created a notebook inside of my phone, and as soon as I meet them and they give me their card, I can snap a picture of it. Matter of fact, we're talking about offering value to people. How do you think a person will feel if you say, hey, look, I don't want to waste your card. Let me, this is one more card that you can give out to somebody else. I'm just going to take a picture of it real quick, capture all the information that I need from it. It's going to email you my information. You can have this card back and you can give it to somebody else, and that'll increase your opportunity of getting value from the conference. Now, if you do that, come on, man, can you imagine what kind of impression that you're going to leave on people by operating that way? So now this offers you that opportunity. So if you don't do nothing else but configure your phone to do that, and I can help you do it, right? It's just a matter of us connecting, and I can show you exactly how to set it up from your phone to where you can do that if that's all you want to. Matter of fact, it'll also, if you wanted it, save the people's contact information in your phone as a contact. So you take one picture of the card, it saves it in Evernote in your notebook that you created. It pulled the contact information off of the card. It emailed an invite or an invitation to LinkedIn, and it emailed them your contact information, and it saved the information on your smartphone. All right. So now I took it a step further because, again, we're talking about building database. And now this next step is going to allow me to get rid of this stack of business cards that are on my desk. So this stack of business cards is going to be gone by next Thursday. By the time you see me next Thursday, all of these business cards are going to be gone. And the reason they're going to be gone is because there's another thing that I learned at the conference called if then that. And that's a software, and you create recipes. And the concept behind if then that is if you do an activity here, then it'll do an activity over here. You do something here, it'll do something there. All right, so a recipe that I was able to create from the whole Evernote taking picture thing is a recipe that says if I add a new contact in my phone, then it's going to create or it's going to add that person with their contact information to a Google spreadsheet. Now, why would I want to add that person's contact information to a Google spreadsheet? Well, the reason that I want to add that person's contact information to a Google spreadsheet is so I can periodically, maybe once a week, once a month, download that spreadsheet and upload it into my CRM. So now I'm populating my CRM by not having to I'm populating my CRM without having to actually type anything into it. So now what happens? I take a picture of Mr. Clark's card, and it does all that other stuff that I said it does, and then it's going to save him in my contacts in my phone. And when it saves him in my contacts in my phone, it's going to automatically take his information and put it on that spreadsheet. And then in a week or in a month, I'm going to add the category. I'm going to type the category of that I want Mr. Clark to be in my Wise Agent, and I'm just going to upload it into my Wise Agent, and now I'm automatically building my database by networking. And so you're talking about speed, that's speed on steroids, right? And that's what the software can do. And that was information that I got from attending a conference, what I'm telling you guys to do. And again, trust me, anything that I spent on attending that thing, that information alone and the activities built around that has paid for that conference times over. Trust me. All right. So that was the Evernote software piece. And then the last thing as I wrap up is the follow-up, right? You got to make sure that you're following up. See, now the thing is that Evernote's created a follow-up process for you. So it's created the fact that it's going to connect with them on LinkedIn. And once they accept your connection, so now you're growing your LinkedIn audience. And then it's going to send them an email with your contact information, right? So now you can take them, you can add them into constant contact. You can add them, see now, and again, look at if then that. It's ifttt.com. Look at that software, because there may be a recipe, and I'm pretty sure it is. It may be a recipe to where if you add them to your phone, it'll automatically add them to a constant contact email serve or a MailChimp email serve if you have MailChimp. So not only can you add them to your CRM, you'll be able to add them to your mailing or your mass marketing email software, whichever one that you use. And remember, MailChimp allows you up to 2,000 people without having to pay anything. So it's a free subscription if you stay under 2,000 people. And how many of y'all have 2,000 people in your databases? Y'all pretty sure you don't. So you getting to 2,000, having a quality database of 2,000 people, it's going to take you some time. But once you do it, you're going to be sitting in a very powerful position by being organized like that. So the Evernote piece or the connection can help you with your follow-up. You probably want to mail them a thank you card. You got the business card information. It has the mailing address on it. Mail them a thank you card. Hey, it was great meeting you at the conference. Again, it leaves a lasting impression. And you know we have a boatload of thank you cards here at the office, so you don't need to go buy any. And they're nice thank you cards. They're pretty, very scenic. They're blank, so you can handwrite in them. So you don't need to go buy anything. So send them a thank you card. Another follow-up. Look for their handles on social media, and then ask them to connect with you. You got LinkedIn covered, but look, try to find them on Instagram, try to find them on Facebook, try to find them on Twitter, and connect with them, right? So again, as you're doing your posts and as you're giving your content and you're remaining relevant, so people are paying attention to you, then those people will be connected with you. And then we got your CRM. We talked about that. And then schedule some face-to-face meetings. Maybe you didn't. So maybe it's not a real estate conference. Maybe it's another conference that you attended. Or maybe it's another event in the city that you attended. And maybe you met a CPA, or you met an attorney, or you met some other professional, human resources rep, or you just met somebody that's in the market. Then, schedule a coffee appointment with them. Schedule a lunch appointment with them. Schedule a meeting so you can have a face-to-face with that individual. Get belly to belly with them and grow that relationship. Fortune is in the follow-up. We have a video that talks about the follow-up and the importance of it, and all these different ways that you can follow up with people as you get their business cards. But the point is that when you go to the conference, you have to follow up, and it's imperative that you do that, right? So we talked about networking, right? If you don't take anything away from what we talked about over these last 2 weeks, you got to take away that if you're going to, well, first of all, you need to go to conferences. Point blank. You need to do it. Second thing is that when you go, you got to make sure that you get a return on investment from attending the conferences. The third thing is that the way for you to get a return on investment for attending the conference is making sure that you effectively take notes, and those notes turn into action items that you can execute, and execute the action items. That's the first one. The second one is that network in such a way that you can meet people, build relationships, position yourself for referral opportunities and relocation opportunities, and gather ideas from other individuals that are doing things in their particular marketplace that you could apply in your marketplace to impact your bottom line. That's how you get return on investment from attending the conferences. So it's imperative to do it. I'm glad that I'm able to record this kind of information because it's something that you can refer to on such a consistent basis to ensure that every single conference that you go to from here on out, that is dramatically impacting the bottom line for your business as you continue to grow your business. And again, push towards creating the new life that most people, and I would say most 98% of people get into this business because there's a lifestyle that they want that involves flexibility, that involves making money. People want that lifestyle, and you can have it. And my goal, our goal at Brooks and Davis, is to give you the information, the resources, the opportunities, so you can create that kind of lifestyle. And this is one of the platforms that we use to do that. Again, it's always a pleasure. Got about 10 minutes left before it's 1 o'clock. If we have any questions, we have Valerie on the line. We have Richard on the line. Do you guys have any questions, any challenges that you've been facing, any testimonies of new clients, any production that I can put on my board? What do you got? If nothing, okay. Oh, there's Richard. What you got, Richard? Anything? Hold on, let me take you off mute. Hold on, I can't. You're on mute.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's going on, sir?
There we go. Hey, so I have this this short sale is actually going to be, it's actually my first short sale on the on being the listing agent, and you know, just learning learning a couple things. You know, I guess the hard way. You know, I didn't get the HUD 1 done, so it's looking like we're not gonna be able to get the deal. But I mean, what I did find out is I need to be 30. They don't want to do anything until 37 days, and you got to be within the 37 days. Most lenders like to know that you want to do a short sale within that time. So this client was really kind of hesitating. This is a friend of mine's parent that was, you know, just putting me off, you know, saying she wanted to do something with her house. I had no idea she actually literally wanted to walk away from her house.
Right.
So long story short, you know, just learn a lesson with dealing with short sales that I know I can apply to, you know, some of my next go rounds. I think I need to build more relationships maybe with other title companies. Maybe I can get a HUD 1 faster.
Right.
Yeah, that's one thing that helps. But other than that, everything's going good.
Okay, good, man. And you know, Richard, were you able to glean anything off of our website? Did you look at those videos?
Yes, I did. I looked at each one. I got some good notes from them. I saved them off to the side, you know, in PDF form. Yeah, so that actually did help. That gave me quite a bit of good information I didn't have. Good. And what I'm referring to here, so again, if you guys ever pick up a short sale, you don't have to be scared of doing a short sale, right? I'm a certified distressed property expert. I'm a certified short sale negotiator. When it comes to defaulted properties, short sales, any of that stuff, call me up. We'll work through it. And that's what Richard did. And on our website, there's a tab that says you can avoid foreclosure, that you can actually refer to as a resource when doing short sales. And then there's a number of videos that's on there. There are, see if I can pull it up real quick. There's a number of videos on there that you can look at, and that'll give you some additional advice when it comes to understanding short sales and what they are. The reason I even created that website was because I would get the question all the time, what is a short sale? So now I can tell people what it is. Okay, yeah, so now I can tell people what it is. So it's for sellers. It's called You Can Avoid Foreclosure. There it is right there. So if you go to, let's see. All right, so if you go to for sellers, you can avoid foreclosure, and then it has, like I told you, certified distressed property expert.
And then it has all of these videos that you can look at, like what is a short sale, what happens in foreclosure, short sale versus foreclosure, how did we get here, the anatomy of a bad month, you know, what happens in bankruptcy, mortgage or loan modification. So it has all these videos that can educate you on understanding short sales uh, when it comes to it. So I think so that was a great resource, and Richard was able to tap into that. And I think you're right, Richard, when it comes to relationship building again, you know, being able to, like I said, Richard was kind of in a time crunch with this particular situation, but he was utilizing a relationship that I had built. So he wasn't able to get the response that he probably could have gotten if he had a relationship that he had already built with an individual. So, you know, you're right. Um, like, because as for me, it's a relationship that I built. If it was a deal that I was working on and I needed something immediately, you know, because of the amount of business that I've done with the title company, I don't have any challenges with getting things. But again, that just comes with relationship building, and that's why it's important that you listen to the things that we talked about today, and networking and all of that stuff. Everything that we talked about is important because you'll have to pull from that stuff sometimes, and you want to make sure that you're able to capitalize off of it. But thanks for sharing, Richard. Appreciate that, man. And absolutely, take what you can, learn from you know, what you can learn from, and it'll show up again as you continue to move forward, and you'll be able to utilize the information that you got and the training that you got. So, um, okay, so is there anything else? Valerie, do you have anything? If not, again, have a great week. It looks like it's a very sunny day. I'm excited about that. Work hard. I need me some production to put on my board. I know that we can make up this $1 million deficit over the next 7 days. If you're interested in meeting me at HCC today so you can capitalize on the 5% override through your activities, please do so. And then we'll just kind of take it from there. You guys know how to get in contact with me. You know how to get in contact with Mr. Brooks. Take advantage of it if you need to. And we'll just keep cranking it out from there. All right, y'all have a great one, and we shall be talking to you soon. All right, bye-bye.